Hello everyone.
The PPT is not showing the PPT slide is
Just give me,
okay.
just give me a moment. Just give me a moment.
Does he share? Okay, while the PPT is shared, hello and welcome everyone. Good evening. I hope I was wondering how has been your experience of the test, especially those of you who have taken the test at the center. Did your performance go up, or did you reduce your performance? Your marks came down. What happened? Yeah. And did you find it more difficult at the center or not? That's something I would be keen to know, and would be helpful if you could just put it in the comments. Yeah. And Gejo or Shashank, क्या लगता है? I'm sure you have seen the data. So
Sir,
what
I have gone to center as well. So I wrote my paper in the center. The
Oh, you wrote the paper in the center.
Yes, माहौल ही अलग है. मतलब
माहौल
घर
अलग
पे
है.
I don't know घर पे लोगों का चेहरा क्या होता है. सेंटर पे सबका मुंह बना हुआ था. So I wrote first slot. सबका मुंह बना हुआ था, सबका मुंह उतरा हुआ था. Everyone was like, सुबह 8:30 बजे आ गए और after some time everyone was like, ये क्या चल रहा है पेपर में? So it was for me it was a fun experience. लेकिन I don't think it was a very fun experience for the students. So Jesus sir,
VARC was tricky. Okay.
Tricky.
But let's see what the paper was overall.
Okay. So this was previous year's score. So we have already seen it. Now this one.
Okay.
So CDC Mock 1 से Mock 2 में 99.5 120 से 90 आ गया.
Okay.
So that और मुझे लग रहा है ये सेंटर पे जाने की वजह से हुआ है. एंड आई थिंक ये सेक्शन तो लगी है क्वांट में भी लोगों का.
This includes all these students who have taken whether at center or at home.
Yes. This is for everyone.
Okay.
Overall.
ठीक है. So overall this is there, and we will. Yeah.
So we have also that data in the slide that is what is at home center and what is at home and what is at center. We'll come to that later on. तो ये तो अपना वो है, ये सेक्शन वाइज है, लेकिन ये जनरल डेटा है. Now let's look at this data. This is home versus center.
So I think that is probably helpful to make people understand. So the first block, which is the overall VARC, DILR QA overall, that's sort of the data of all the students who've taken the test. My understanding is about the 6,000 odd who took in the center, and about 3,000, 4,000 actually took the test at home, at their home. That's
there's a total of about 9,000, 5.5 to 6 and 3.5 to 4. So we don't have the exact numbers, but it is upwards of 9,000.
Okay. So the first column looks at the overall percentile. So if, for example, if I look at VARC, 99.5 percentile was 33, 99 was 28, DLR 99 percentile was 30, and QA is 37, and overall 99% 77. And so the middle block on top gives you the percentile distribution of people who have taken at home, which is 3,500 to 4,000 people who for whatever reason could not go to the center but took the test. And then the last column, the last block chunk is specifically those set of students of their score distribution of people who have taken to the center. So one of the things that I can clearly see, for example, if you look at QA, the 99 percentile score of people who have taken the test, of all of them who have taken at home, is 41.
Shashank, do you have a tablet attached?
हाँ.
If you can just keep on highlighting the relevant stuff. I think नहीं तो स्टूडेंट बहुत कंफ्यूज हो जाएंगे, डेटा बहुत सारा है.
Yeah. First of all, they have taken it. This looks like another DILR. Okay, so makes sense.
If you could just highlight that relevant cells.
So for example, that 31 is VARC the score. For example, the 31 is 99 percentile of all the students. If I just take the students who have taken the test at home, their score was 31, 99 percentile. When it went to the center, that score became 27. And what is interesting is look at QA, for instance. The 99 percentile score at home is 41, which is currently being highlighted. And what happened in the center is 30. So look at DILR instead. What happened in at home at 99% is 33. At the center is 29. There could be 2-3 possibilities. Okay, so possibility number one, all the students who are really preparing hard didn't feel like going to the center and taking the test. Okay, or possibility number two is that something happened in the center. The change in environment created some amount of changes to the score, and at least for VRC and VRC, it makes sense that this is expected. Because if you look at something like VRC, everything that you need to answer the question, the knowledge that is required to answer the question is there in the test. So how you read, you have to read the passage to understand, to answer all the questions. So that comfort that you have in home and the comfort that you did not have in the center has changed it. So if I look at even the bottom block, which talks about what happened to the top 10% of the students, we'll start with VRC. The median score for the top 10% students is 23. For those who have taken the center home, center becomes 18. For the DLR, the median is 27 at home, and the center is 22. And for QA is 30 at home and 31 at the center, and overall is 66 at home and 51 at center. So I think CAT is going to happen at a center. Right. So this is this experience, according to me, very clearly shows me that how much you are able to simulate the mock the conditions. So there are factors, external factors, so to also kind of influence your score. And I believe that this probably would have been a fantastic experience for those of you who have taken the test. Obviously, one could argue that VRC as a paper was difficult, which I agree it is. Right. So I'm sure that VRC was difficult and some of the earlier mocks that you've taken, that I agree. But even with that difficult paper, the variation that you see is considerable. So yeah, so that's at least what the data says, GP. Yeah.
Gejo, first of all, there's not a surprise to me. I have always maintained that when you go for CAT, your scores typically will fall by 10 to 15% marks. And here we can see the overall score for the top 10%. The median score is down from 66 to 51. Okay, so that is the first thing. Even the mean is down from 69 to 53. Roughly, I would say 15-17% reduction in marks. Okay, so first of all, I'm not surprised with this at all, because most of us are very when we move to an uncomfortable environment, scores do change. Okay? And the level of difficulty of the paper does not matter to me, because whether you are taking at home or you are taking at center, both of you are getting the same paper. Secondly, when you look at this, the only variable which was different between home and center was the environment. One environment which you are comfortable with, one you are not. So if there's a gap between it, it is purely because you're not used to this situation. Secondly, there's one more thing which I think is important to understand. When we are taking the paper at home, we can not only are we relaxed, we can do a little cheating also. And I don't know how many people here are science students or engineers. I'm sure they know about Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Okay, and what it also means is when you're under observation, your behavior changes. So when there's light on you, you're under observation, your behavior changes, you become much more conscious, and possibly the people who are taking the paper at the center would have realized, yeah, there's like an actual exam, let me try to put my best foot forward. Maybe they were being a little, let's say, cautious. I don't know, because this happens in the actual exam also. Some of the students become a little extra cautious to make sure they don't make a mistake. And in that process, they lose a few marks because they end up attempting lesser number of questions. But what I'm really perplexed about is the difference in the quant scores. 41 to 30 at home versus center is a huge difference. Other two are about 1.5 question difference, which to me is not a major deal. But quant from 41 to 30 is a 4 question difference, 3 to 4 question difference, which I think is a significantly high gap, which is there at the 99 percentile level.
What also would have happened for that quant? I'm obviously speculating here, which is that
No.
you have to actually go to the center, means you are traveling much earlier. You are
Yes.
actually waiting there. You are being there, and you've actually had a VRC, which probably would have struggled with, and then you went to a DLR, which was painful. Then you come to QA, you are probably fatigued. At home, you just sit somewhere, you open the laptop, you start the test. So I think that those this has to be
Very
let's
good.
not matter.
That fatigue would have definitely been a factor because you would have left a little early, as you rightly said. Taking the test at center means starting 2 hours after you start the process. The paper starts 2 hours after you start the process. You leave home and etc. And so that has also played a role. And ये भी हो सकता है क्वांट तक पहुंचते पहुंचते सबकी हालत खराब हो गई है. They would have been tired by then.
And you know what is most surprising to me? If you look at this data, DILR, the highest score at home is 49 and highest score at center is 54. This is something that I don't know, that this is outlier of the whole data. Everywhere it is declining, but in DILR it is increasing. The highest score only is increasing. The rest, everything is going down. So this is, I think, very much surprising because in QA, highest score is gone down by 3 questions. Median score has also it has gone down by 4 questions, and this has also gone down by 4 questions. But in DILR, maximum score increased at center. I don't know how it is happening. I think.
See, there can always be one individual who's extremely good and has done well. So I will not worry so much about the higher score, because you can have one brilliant individual at home or at center, and also remember, I'm sure some of the students would have realized that they perform better under pressure, though that number is usually very small. But some students do tend to do better when they are taking the test at the center, under pressure. Secondly, yes, Harshit, ये अच्छा लगा, मजा आ गया पेपर में तो in the center. I don't know, मजा आया कि हालत खराब हो गई बहुत सारी, कि मजा आया पेपर अच्छा हो गया, or the overall experience. Okay? But to me, what is important is to understand that this is the same paper at home or center. If at the broad level there's a difference, that tells you that that tells us maybe we need to plan for at least 2 to 3 more tests of this kind, so that our students get the advantage of being. So जब टेस्ट देने जाएंगे ना, कैट देने जाएंगे, it will be another center which is there. So maybe we look at another set of papers. We were looking at this as a pilot. अगर अच्छा हो गया है, if the students like it, then yes, we will look at doing more of these. Okay. One of the things which I find here interesting is that practically everyone seems to be thinking कि यार VRC और quant में हालत खराब हो गई. Okay. But we look at that as we go along. But I don't think it was that difficult.
So let's move to VA.
There's a question out here. I don't know the answer. Rank and percentile which we got home ka alag and center ka alag or combined. It is combined, na?
It's combined. That's combined.
The first one is combined over.
We have just segregated the data for our understanding because we wanted to study how it has impacted the students. And I'm glad this was done by the team, because this helps you also understand कि क्या फर्क है. Otherwise, blindly everything would have been blamed on the paper.
Gejo sir,
Yeah, of course. I think there'll be a lot of issues and questions with respect to VRC. So I'll present the slide. I think I'll already present. I can just pull it up to the screen. Yeah, thank you. So
I don't know. Did you change the degree of difficulty?
No, I didn't.
नहीं ना, ठीक है.
So obviously one of the question is, so first of all, when it comes from sort of designing sort of any test, right? So when you look at from the design of any test, whether it is DILR, QA, and or VRC, the design of a test is with obviously an attitude that it will be by and large sort of similar in nature, not sort of huge variation within this. It is obviously that is sort of at least with the perspective of the design of the particular paper. But overall, there could be certain variables that would have happened for the score sort of to change. Okay, so for example, if I look at something like 40 marks to about 30, if I look at this paper, right? So the usual this thing about, you can actually see here, this is 29, and that's kind of a 39 or even 37 marks. So what you can actually see here is in terms of about 10 marks, which is about 3 questions net effect. So if I look at the overall thing, is that this paper probably would have been about the 3 questions more difficult, and that's kind of what have happened in this particular paper. But at least with respect to the design of the paper, it's nothing to say that the paper was created in a fashion to make it difficult. Okay, if I kind of look at kind of sources, right? So if you look at, for example, all these words is very close to the CAT. Some of the passages were dense, but a couple of passages were not that dense. If you look at kind of the sources, one was from Encyclopedia, The Atlantic, the one from Philosophy Magazine, and then one from Economist. Sort of. So even if you look at the passage, bilingualism or the media decline, sea slugs, so you will expect these kind of passages, so sort of in the CAT, and then even if you look at all the sources from which the test was designed, this was designed probably very, very similar to what you would probably seen in other things. So I think there is some problem with.
While you check that, there's a comment out here.
Okay.
VARC 1000 piloted helped me tackling that tough passage. Insane player, you did not need to get the piloted thing. Had you gone to Open CAT, you would have got it for free in any case. Okay. The earlier version is available there, and that would have in any case helped you. But good,
okay.
You're at least using it.
Okay, so let me just something happened here. Let me just reshare once. Okay.
Interestingly, quite a few students are saying that they would want one more test. Okay. It seems okay. What we can do is probably do 2 to 3 more tests. August mein kiya hai. Okay. What we'll do is we'll float a survey with you, and and we could probably do 1 test every month. September, October, November, maybe. But let's see.
Yeah. Just give me a second.
Lakshmi is saying the same thing.
Okay. So let me present once again.
Acha, there's a question. I'll just handle this. Who cheats in the mock? That's the whole point. Absolutely right. And then you'll be surprised, Akash, at the number of students every year we meet who tend to cheat in mocks. I don't know what they gain out of it, but nevertheless, we get to see a few students every year. Yeah.
Okay. You can pull the screen. I think the screen, but I'm not able to see my cursor. That's a problem. So it's okay. So I can pull the my screen up, Shashank. Yeah, thank you. So so it was kind of. I think the paper was tough. What I see with respect to the percentage accuracy and attempt, you can see across the board a lot of reds. So the media declines the passage every single question. I think the accuracy level is pretty low. Even this particular passage, you've got 3 accuracy. I think none of the passages offered you enough easy questions. At least that seems to be the outcome. And you've got paragraph summary questions in itself was painful. It's expected that odd sentence or sentence placement were fine. So kind of something happened here so in this test, right? So what my what my advice would be to obviously treat this as a learning moment, right? A couple of things. At the end of the day, you have to understand that CAT is a relative test. You have to be smart enough to do better than the rest, right? So so if one could one could obviously say that at what score you will get what percentile is something that you'll get to know only after the test. But the question that you see on the screen, if you make sensible decision for every single questions, it should ideally work. I'll just quickly sort of go through each of these passage. The first passage kind of was on bilingualism. The passage in itself was not sort of difficult to read. So there is this. I think this was the passage, the broad lot of discussion that was happening. The bilingual family defies simple definition. We obviously can. It's very very difficult to define what a bilingual family is. I mean, the mother is bilingual, but the kids are not. The mother is monolingual. The parents are monolingual. The kids are bilingual. So sort of a lot of discussion was happening here. So you have. Yeah, for example, questions like this, right? One could come and say that this question, the 38 percentage, when I mark the last answer choice, the question says the necessary condition for the survival of minority language. What is the necessary condition? And this is mentioned here. I think. Sorry, I'm not able to. I think it's mentioned here. The pivotal condition, which is the familiar reproduction of minority language. Sustained intra-family transmission, without which something won't happen. So the parental attitude is mentioned later, but that says something that also shapes. The question is asking what is the necessary thing. The necessary thing, of course, is what the transmission happens within a family. Within a family. So the only thing that the option did was to mention this as in-home linguistic inheritance, which was actually something that is absolutely direct. So I think a lot of issues that someone would have had in this particular test was because the correct answer choice was disguised sort of in a manner which kind of made it difficult. I'll probably, for example, look at. Let's say I just want to talk to this 37% you mark this answer choice, right? Which is the following description of the 3-generation shift. And the 3-generation shift is actually mentioned here. 3-generation mentioned there, and it is given the 3-generation shift frequently occurs. The first generation speaks only minority language. The second generation becomes bilingual, and the third generation shift towards exclusive dominant language. So it's the first generation, second generation, third generation, minority, majority language. The first generation only speaking the minority language. The second generation speaks both. The third generation speaks only the majority language. So that is what is mentioned here. Okay. And one of the things that is mentioned is frequently occurs. This is something that is seen frequently. That's what the passage says. Now, you tell me, why would somebody mark an answer choice which says answer choice number 1, a full shift of minority language to a dominant language requires the passage of at least 3 generations. This is something that seems such that it is needed. It cannot happen in one generation. The three generations needed when the passage says it is frequently stopped. These are the kind of mistakes that you will not make ever. And that fell in terms of 34. If you look at something like a 34, it has got nothing to do with these things. I'm not going to explain this in detail. I'm just going to highlight some most the issues here. So this was sort of an easy question. I actually felt from a design angle, this was sort of a easy question. Was from a design angle. This was from a design angle was thought to be at least an easy question because people would understand. The question is saying necessary condition. So from a design perspective, I mean, this was there for the taking. The media decline as a passage. Every single option sort of became question was painful. So this is, for example, author will most likely agree with the view that survival of journalism may require government intervention because survival of journalism requires government intervention. So author clearly says some kind of free market based turnaround is a lunacy. The market turning around itself is not going to happen. Therefore, government intervention is required. Which is this? No, the news industry cannot correct itself. Now, the people kind of fell for options like this because people did not read it properly. Democracy is vital aspect of journalism. That's not what the passage says. The passage says journalism is a vital for democracy, not that democracy is vital for journalism. The passage doesn't say it. Or preserving journalism in their self-interest. It is not in the interest of politicians. Where is the passage says in the interest of? They use the word self-government, but there is self-interest. So I can go on and on in terms of so each of these questions to say that whether these questions are inherently difficult. It was not. Okay. So the two things actually happened in all these passages. I think one of the things that likely would have happened is not reading the question carefully to understand what the question is asking and not able to identify an option which was disguised, not written in the exact form of what is given in the particular passage. The third passage, this is sort of this passage, I think very few people actually, the least attempt the particular passage. This passage is talking about compatibilism. When you sort of look at this particular passage here, there is this gentleman that is mentioned, Robert Sapolsky. Okay, and there is a view that is mentioned here, which is known as compatibilism. It's the idea that free will is compatible with determinism. Okay, and it is very, very clear that eventually, for him, for Robert Sapolsky, life is essentially about luck. Everything is about luck. He argues that every aspect of chance and nothing but chance makes a difference between those lives. He's saying that everything is chance. There is absolutely, you are not in control at all. Which that therefore, basically, what he's arguing is the fact that free will cannot be compatible with determinism. If everything is determined by cause and effect, you have no, you can't change. But it is not based on it. He's basically saying that it's based on genetics and your environmental factor. The fact that you're doing well in mocks as is basically out of chance, according to him at least. So that's what a passage says, right? And if you kind of understand this, you'll pick each one. For journalists, of course, sees which of the following is an illusion. For an illusion is free will. Everything is chance. So you don't have any free will. You can't change your whatever your thing. And even, for example, questions like this. I'm not sort of getting into a detail, but I think this is like people did not read and understand this and this option correctly. How can I be responsible for the world if the world is gone by laws of physics and effect? So when you look at the particular passage, is that how can I be responsible for my actions? This one is saying that how can I be responsible for the world? That is incorrect. It's like how can I be responsible for my action? Okay, so you have Robert Sapolsky will agree with each one of the following assertion, except again, if you sort of understood the passage, you can get it. Yeah, the way in which it was framed was slightly painful. So again, this passage was had access to sort of easy questions. The last passage was about this sea slugs who are kleptomaniacs. Sort of the story. So you have seen passages like these in the cat. So again, again, questions on the discovery reveals what? What did it reveal? So you can go back and check the. Sorry, Shashank, I think Shashank, I think.
Shashank, your audio is not clear. Yeah. Okay.
Which of the following is least consistent? There is one option says that none of the options listed is inconsistent. We went and marked it. When they are saying that kleptoplasty may lead to endosymbiosis, the passage saying the kleptoplasty is thought to be a precursor. And what does precursor mean? Something that happened before. How can you say there's a causal link? I mean, that has been answered. And which of the following most definitely and inaccurate, which is definitely false? The passage says here that passage says here when these fellows when these fellows store the chloroplast, the slugs give a verdant hue. Then the turn says that when they start digesting the chloroplast, it becomes orange. So they become from verdant hue to orange when the chlorophyll amount comes down. That's what the passage says. And the very first options tells here gives verdant hues when chlorophyll levels drop. Verdant hues is verdant passage clearly says they get verdant hues when they have the chlorophyll, and when it drops, it becomes orange. So, but obviously, sort of people misunderstood what the question is asking. Question is asking something that is definitely false. Okay, that's what the question is asking. This was sort of slightly painful one. So, if I were to from a sort of a design perspective, we actually put all these set of questions before you actually give the present any of these tests out. We actually put these all these set of questions onto an AI tool to assess how close it is sort of to the cat. Of course, this was a slightly difficult question, but I was actually absolutely surprised that across board we had an issue with respect to sort of not falling for a lot of these problems and a lot of these questions. And if I if you look at the overall in the country, you have seen passages like sea slugs, you have seen passages like these. This is very recent issue. The issues of bilingualism. These are all fair game in CAT. The type of questions are fair game in CAT. I think that the only thing that I would want to tell you guys is that treat it as a learning opportunity. One could come back and say that, oh, I don't know what is happening, but treat it a learning opportunity, right? And you can obviously watch all the sort of video solution. I've taken a little care this time because I knew that people struggled. So I've taken a little more care in terms of explaining each of these answer choice, probably the likely trap that he fell for, how likely that you can avoid the trap in the future. So you treat this as a learning opportunity. Don't worry about the score that you got. I mean, this is not the real CAT. Obviously, this is the mock CAT. You're not going to get admission based on this particular test, but this test is you're used as a preparation tool. Just quickly going through the VA, I knew that this paragraph summary was painful. The reason why paragraph summary the questions was painful because this time around the options, for example, if you look at these, I'm just talking about these options. I think that there were options. For example, this option is also true and this option is also true, in the sense that that statement was true. But the only difference sort of between these two options, or this particular option had little more coverage sort of the information given in the particular passage. Okay, this one says publicly funded animal research demands ethical oversight. So if animal research demand oversight, that is number one, requiring scientific justification adherence to the 3 Rs. You require scientific adherence to 3R to ensure humane treatment, minimum animal suffering. Those are the three input that this particular statement says. Because animal research benefits society and uses public fund. Okay, that is sort of one. It must be ethically conducted. One, balancing human gain with animal welfare. Balancing human gain with animal welfare. This element of which is from a utilitarian perspective, any form of harm must be outweigh the potential benefit of the humans. So there was this one part, there is this second part, and there is third part. If we actually look at this answer choice, this one had more coverage. So one of the issue that with respect to paragraph summary is that let's say there are 5 sentences or 4 sentences, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences, and one way is that if I don't sort of understand sentence by sentence, you probably will miss it. So the issue that happened here, I could, for example, go on to each of these questions. The issue that happened is there are a lot many questions which are other, but there is no reason as to why somebody would have marked answer choice. These answer choice, it says that this is saying that ethical standard like. This one is saying like. The passage is not giving an example. These ethical standards are embodied in 3Rs. So this is not like. I mean, why would you mark 2 and 3? I at least can understand that why would somebody mark this one. So there is an issue that highlighted with this paragraph summary. I've tried to help you sort of understand this better. Sentence placement was should have been. I think that all the 3 sentence placement question was there for the taking. People did not mark it. For example, this says there are a lot of so it ignores details of stars and planet, focusing on bigger structure. Something is ignoring and focusing on big thing, so it's going to ignore, and that is clearly mentioned as cosmology, study of the universe of the largest scale. So therefore, it's going to ignore it. So there was a clear position for answer choice number 4 here. This is saying that institution with centuries of power and influence behind them have a responsibility to be open, that some have started to recognize. Some of the institutions started to recognize this. But if you look at place it here, but reflecting on historical event while necessity is not sufficient. Just because you recognize it, that's sufficient. You have a clear place to place it here, but only very few people took it. Again, this talks about, this comes in 2 brackets. One talks about Christ figure and this full name that is given, and immediately you see the surname being mentioned here. So the full name has to come before that. Jesus figure is mentioned there. So this has to be placed here itself. So all this was 9 mark worth the taking. Odd sentence question, sort of, I'm not explaining it now. Odd sentence question was sort of also manageable. So for those of you who would sort of come back to just to defend the test, right? At least from a design angle. This one could come and say that which passage was difficult to read. At least look at from the topic perspective, which passage was difficult to read. Even let's say there's some topic on bilingualism, which simply talks about bilingual families. This was there. The media decline as a passage. this particular passage is something that you and I can understand. The media decline, the problem that is going to happen. The third passage, even if let's say it has got this whole issue, but this talks about the very idea whether whatever happens in your life, is it pure luck or maybe chance, or do we have free will? I mean, even though this topic, this was not a very exotic sort of topic for discussion. The last passage essentially talks about one particular animal and what it does. And you see this all these questions. Even for example, every single this talks about a zodiac sign which is introduced. This one talks about animal research. This one talk about a mosaic installation that happened in New York subway. This is talk about Big Bang. This one is talking about colonial era and what the slavery and what people have recognized. This is talking about Superman movie that recently happened. This is talking about what about football, the history of football, and how football has become ugly. This is talking about how cooking has started. Nobody can come and say. So this was, at least from a sort of from a design angle, this was deliberately made to be such a painful test. It was not. But nevertheless, I agree that something did happen in the test. But the way in which I would submit to you is look at a couple of things, right? The first thing that I want you guys to do is redo all the questions once again. Don't look at the solution. Okay. Don't get disheartened. Redo all the question once again without looking at the solution, without looking at the explanation, which you have got access to that in the paper. The second thing that you want to do is that, okay, now you reflect on the question that your original answer and your current answer and the actual answer key. Reason with it, defend the correct answer key, and then reason with it. Reason yourself, figure out what went wrong. Watch go through the written solution, try and make sense, and watch the video solution as well. And I don't want you guys to take this particular test and somehow go back and say that it was very tough for sort of everyone. This is this, and then or for example, sit and cry about it. Please do understand this. You have got a tremendous opportunity, because I truly believe that if, let's say, the way in which the options were framed, the way in which questions are framed, the way in which the traps were set each of the answer options, this would be probably the most challenging. The challenge did not come from the passage. Let me tell you that. All the passages were accessible. All the content were accessible. The challenge did come from how the options were framed. So I would strongly urge each one of you to take this as an absolute learning process, learning tool, so that you can learn something from it. And that's sort of my submission to you guys. Yeah.
Wonderful, Gejo.
Sadil, there's one question I think we need to address this one. Are we having some attempts also, live attempts, or no? We used to have them.
We are
okay,
having live attempts. We will be sharing that because it takes some time to process those and add them to the system. So yes, there will be live.
So Vasudev, there is a live attempt for all the papers. You can go through it. One of the faculty members would have taken that paper.
Yes, exactly. So GP, in fact, I wanted to take up a couple of questions and I'm not sure if they are taken before I join. So I just want to talk about that Open CDC 2 ka in-center experience. Or ye humne cover kiya hai, but there are some comments that caught my attention. Starting with Ashish ka comment, which says amazing initiative and thank you so much for it and all that. And then a series of people. So Sanat, Atin, Anirudh, Maitri, Shubhang, Anurag, Meenakshi, Yatharth, Ashish, Siddharth, Sushmita, all of them are asking if whether there'll be, or suggesting that if there can be one more such test. Yes, we are planning after the success of this event, and after looking at your comments also, we are coming up with other test center based experiences, right? So rest assured. While saying this, Chirag and Aryan commented that more centers might have been a good idea. So guys, just to update you on this, we had 52 centers in 44 cities this time, and this was the first time, right? So definitely we'll be adding more and more cities. The only concern is that we can only have a center where we have enough number of students. So I don't know where you guys come from. So in case you can also write in the chat what city you belong to, maybe that is something we can add immediately, right? So definitely can do. And last not the least, I think Rishi Saxena has been saying this, and I want to take this question up also, since there would be some students who might have faced some difficulties. So dear CL, I've traveled 39 kilometers. I don't know where you traveled from, buddy, and to where. So if you are in the city or you're around somewhere, in a city nearby, but it is first of all great that you travel 39 kilometers to take this mock. I don't know why there is a technical snack, so I would strongly recommend you reach out to me. I will share my email ID in the chat as well as support team. So both the email IDs I will share in the chat. Please tell me what was the issue and let me look into this. Okay. I'm sorry you had that experience, and I'm sure we can correct this. Right. So yeah. So that is what I wanted to say before we go on to DILR.
Sunil, one last question. This is something again you should be able to answer. Question analysis is going to be made available. It should be available immediately after the papers are done. Huh?
Absolutely. So analysis में दो parts होते हैं. Score is available immediately. The analysis is available after 7 p.m. of the test getting over, which is now today. So it should be live. If it is not, it might have taken some more time, but it would be live by the end of this session. So let me check also on that, GP.
Yeah. Okay. And some of the cities, while some people are talking about center closer to their home, guys and girls, which may not be possible to have 10 centers in Delhi, unless everyone in Delhi decides to take the paper. However, we'll try to make sure that there are more centers, because a couple of students said Jammu, someone said some other city where we did not have a center. We'll see if we can add all of them. Okay. Yes, Sarthak, this is what we have planned. This is what we were discussing a day before yesterday when we started. Maybe this is something we should have done. Provided you the A5 size booklet, which is what is actually provided by CAT. Okay. So we will have that part done.
I want to add to this that feedback has already been shared with the team to make sure that next time around we have this exactly. So while we were trying to get the exact copy, this one thing probably got left out. Because DILR में specifically to solve on an A5 size sheet is different from what you solve on a A4 size sheet. So yeah, that is a valid suggestion.
Okay. One thing, just for your reference, time productivity analysis is not live yet. Just have it checked, please. Okay, let's move on. Yeah. Agartala, Tripura. Okay. So let's move to DILR now. Yeah, Shashank, you are the master of ceremony, so you'll have to take it forward.
So this is the scenario of DILR. So we got 33 marks in 99.5 is 33 marks. That is similar to CAT 2022. And again, 99 percentile is again similar to 2022. So basically this and 2022, 2023. So this paper, I think it's similar to that. But Ravi, what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, I felt pretty much the same, Shashank, when I was attempting DILR in the 40 minutes time, and I felt that anyone who surpasses the third set barrier in this would have done an absolutely brilliant job of the paper, because even the sets that looked straightforward, I mean, kind of familiar, even if you look at the first set that was there, it was a scatter plot, but it was very simple to read. But yet it was lengthy to find. After you have made the table of it, also you would need to work something extra for each of the questions out there. So which was a little painful. I mean, even after you work 10 to 12 minutes on the main idea of it, you still need at least 1.5 minutes per question to be able to crack the question. So that was the kind of this paper. In general, I felt there was only one set which was which I felt कि अगर आप arrangement बना लो तो सब एक साथ बन जाएगा, but otherwise you would have to work a little more than what you would normally do while solving sets. So this was that kind of a paper to me. I felt that it was overall moderate level difficulty, because in my attempt I could not actually see the fifth set at all. I saw only the first 4 sets, and I could find time to solve the first 4 sets only. But in those first 4 sets also, there was the third set that I left in between because I felt too much of time and effort may be required for this. So that's how I felt that, though you may be feeling that the set is familiar to you, the questions may not be. So this is a set this is a paper in which you don't read questions, then you are probably getting into the wrong set if you don't read the questions upfront.
Ravi, I will agree with you. Actually, when I looked at this paper, my basic thing was that in this paper, 3 sets should be sufficient. To me, first 2 sets were actually the easier ones. Third set, which was that people meeting at the fair can be confusing. And the fourth set again was something with that horrible to pronounce names that I don't remember the names, but that was a set which was easy. So I would say if you have done set 1, 2, and 4, you have done a good job of this paper. And even in set number 1, maybe one odd question could be left. Okay? And set number 2 and 4, I don't think there was any need to leave any set. But set number 5 तो मुझे समझ ही नहीं आया था क्या करना है उसमें, तो मैंने वैसे ही छोड़ दिया था. So unlike you, I wrote the entire paper first. So when my analysis was, you should start with set 1 or 2 or 2 and 1, then go to set number 4. Then you have time. You can go to the fair or do that last set, which also had some kind of a currency calculation issue. Okay? So that's what I felt.
Essentially, if you look back at the last at least couple of years of the CAT and you look at DI as such, okay, pure DI kind of things, एक बार ग्राफ दिया है, वो बार ग्राफ से ही सब कुछ निकलना है, या फिर you are making a number based DI, you are making a 5x5 grid and उसमें से ही सब कुछ निकलना है. So there was, I mean, in the last couple of years, at least since the level of difficulty of DILR has slightly fallen, I feel that there is at least one set which is mechanically doable for everyone. For me, that set in this paper was the set 1 only, the scatter plot wala, right? But even though it is mechanically doable, it is a time versus effort kind of a thing. I took 14 to 15 minutes on that set, 13-14 minutes at least for those 12 marks there, right? So typically I start slow, that's a different issue altogether. But when you look at it, I felt there was no set isme jo aisa purely mechanically doable hai, DI perspective. Perspective, there was that fourth one, which is the cities of the Northeast that people were going to. That was the only thing that I felt that if you spend good amount of time, you are going to get very good rewards, because 15 marks the usme. 10 to 12 minutes in that, 15 marks lying around could have been taken. So that was
the first question also helps you eliminate a couple of cases. If you look at the first question, it would have been helpful in terms of eliminating the choices and eliminating the cases. नहीं ये वाला नहीं, अगला वाला. हाँ, just go to set number 4.
Set number 4, Shashank sir.
Yeah, इससे पहले. Yeah, look at question 38. What are the position of Aryan and Brian on the front of the queue? It is, and then you can, if you start with Brian, you are able to find out that Brian has to be 3rd or 4th. So a couple of cases go out of the window, and from the remaining, you find that that Aryan cannot be 2nd if Brian is 3rd or 4th. So something like that, if I remember correctly. So if you pick up that data set, that particular question, my guess is, my feeling is, in this data set, students would have struggled to identify the prime numbers. Yes. 401, 411, 21, 31, up to 91. Now 2, 3 were easily removable. Multiples of 3, 21 squares, 441. Those kind of numbers, people, I'm sure, would have found it easy. After that, I'm sure people would have struggled, because then it required you to check for divisibility with 7, 11, 13. That is where I think students would have struggled a bit. But it's not difficult at all. And finding the square, okay, I have just made the Jugaad video of this set. You can go through it, and you could also look at how to work with eliminating the not only the choice cases, but also how to find out the multiples or the prime numbers.
I think, not going to lie, ये मेरे को अभी तक नहीं चमका. आपने अभी बताया तो मेरे को ये चमका कि मैं ऐसा कर सकता था शायद पेपर में. But if you go to the third set, I found a Jugaad inherent. I was left with, if you go to the third set, Shashank sir, the moment I saw this set and started looking at it, I realized there are 2 parts to it. One is who met who, who meets who, और कौन किस order में आया, right? That is the first part. The second part is किसके पास कितना पैसा है, how money is there with them. If you look at the 5 questions to follow, there is only one question about who meets who. Everything else is about money. So that is where I decided, boss, ki, I think this is not a set worth solving. But that first question, I think everyone should have solved, because the question was, who did not meet G? And there were 4 options, E, C, B, and D. All you needed to do in this question was read the statements that E, C, B, and D made. And you will find that D did not meet G. So there was something to find there as well. And once you read read the statements of B, then you will be able to answer question 34 also very easily. That I answered in the last 1 minute of my attempt. I came back to this set in the last 1 minute and I could figure out the answer to 34 without solving the entire set. So I felt this set, for someone who gives time to it, was pretty much doable. But yes, question 33 and 34 were there for the taking, because if you go to just B statement, Shashank sir, thoda upar, if you go to B statement, B is saying I was the first to enter the fairgrounds. A and D were next to each other and next to enter. That means the first 3 people to enter are B, A, and D.
Yeah.
Right. You go to the last, you look at the last statement given, point 4. D and D spent the least and highest amounts. So you know what D spent. And B spent 8 more rupees than A. Once you have listed those prime numbers, it was very easy to find out. So 2 questions out of this set could be done without much effort, getting into solving the entire set, right? But you should know when to leave a set also. I'm not advocating कि ये set जरूर छोड़ ही देना चाहिए, because मैंने छोड़ा, ऐसा नहीं है. I'm just saying कि because there were 2 major parts to it. Once you have to figure out पूरा arrangement, और वो arrangement जब तक figure out नहीं होगा, आपका money भी उतना figure out नहीं होगा. But if you take help from questions, then it could be solved bottom to top much easier.
And Ravi, I would tell you one thing. I'm not sure you have seen the 5th set, but if you see question number 46 of last question of 5th set, okay, you don't read anything. This is simple question of percentage. You don't need data for it.
Okay.
So basically,
the way I attempt the paper, Shashank sir, is I go from question 1 to question 22. I don't spend time initially skimming through the sets. So I couldn't reach to the last set of the last minute, because I believe that, say, this is my way of thinking, GP sir, you can, this is all absolutely debatable. I spend more time on the first and second sets. The chances that I will not be able to solve any of the first 2 sets are very meek. मतलब दोनों में से एक तो मैं शायद बना ही लूंगा. तो I believe वो शुरू के 15 मिनट में 12 नंबर बैंक में है वाला जो security feeling है, that builds enough momentum later on. Then you will end up solving 3 sets maybe.
So basically what I felt about this paper is कि इस paper में every set was doable. There were some sets that are going to take more time, some sets that are going to take less time. That's it. So basically, this becomes very tricky scenario when you can solve everything, right? Then even if you take the third set, it will take more time, but you can solve it, right?
Shashank, that feeling was not there with me that I can solve everything. 5th set मेरे को पसंद ही नहीं आया. I switched off while reading that set. So वो feeling तो at least मेरे को नहीं थी कि सब हो जाएगा. But 1, 2, 4 and 3 I was okay, यार ये हो जाएंगे. These are sets which are doable.
This is another problem, GP sir. There is a real world problem. जब all the sets are doable, मतलब set देख के तुमको लगता नहीं कि नहीं बनेगा, then it is a real problem to make that judgment call कि मुझे कौन सा करना है और कौन सा छोड़ना है.
बिल्कुल. Which is why I like difficult papers, because difficult papers always have 1 or 2 sets which you don't need to look at, and they will always have 1 odd set which you can definitely solve. Though last year ka paper was more difficult for the simple reason every set was doable, and then you have to decide which one to go for.
Correct. But I felt overall paper DILR was balanced. DILR was like what DILR should be. It was not like what CAT 2024 was in terms of DILR. It was like, what we are used to in terms of DILR. So I felt the paper was more or less balanced, but I still feel that there was a chance for us also to put one purely mechanical set that ये 4 question तो बन ही जाने चाहिए types, which was not there in the paper. मतलब 4 question 10 मिनट में बन जाने चाहिए वाले wala set was missing somewhere.
So again, I'll go back to the previous data. So basically, this is this one. So if you see, third set का पहले क्वेश्चन के आगे कोई green नहीं है. There is no green.
Ravi, that you showed the question paper only, Shashank.
Huh?
You'll have to present that.
Right.
Question paper.
अच्छा, question paper. Sorry.
Unshare and reshare.
So if you open this one, look at the graph. So third set के पहले क्वेश्चन के आगे कोई green नहीं है.
I'm glad who attempted the third set got the first question right. Because as I said, it was a no-brainer. You just had to read through the statements made by the 4 options there.
Right, and if you see, the attempts in the first set and second set are very high, but third set onwards, it has decreased exponentially. Fifth set तक कोई पहुंचा नहीं. Third set, fourth set, you are saying it was easy, doable, but no one has attempted it. If you see, the attempt rate is only 30%. So people haven't.
I feel the reason is, if you look at third set and the fourth set, both cases the culprit is prime numbers. थर्ड सेट में भी हमने बोला कि 60 से 100 के बीच में 8 प्राइम नंबर्स है, फिर उसके कुछ एवरेज को कुछ करके डेटा था. फोर्थ सेट अगर आप देखो 400 से 500 के बीच का प्राइम नंबर कौन पूछता है यार.
नहीं, लेकिन उसमें रवि लेकिन उसमें एक लाइन लिखी हुई थी, एवरीवन इज स्पेंडिंग एग्जैक्टली 1 rupee coin, right?
That is helpful. Which 5 will remain out of 10 is the one that took a lot of time for me also. I spent about 3-4 minutes. I could directly eliminate only 411, 441 and 471 because they are straight away multiples of 3.
451 is multiple of 11. मैंने 4 पहली राउंड में किए थे, but उसके बाद जो है I had to check for divisibility by 7 and 11. 11 is 7 and 13 से check किया तो 481 मिल गया.
Correct.
The thing there was the number is ending with 1. That means 13 into has to be with some 7. So 13 into 30 390. So 13 into 37 मिल गया, वहाँ पे काम हो गया. So rather than working with the numbers, I worked with working with those 6-7 numbers. I worked with the prime numbers. तो शायद इसलिए जल्दी हो गया.
That is definitely a better approach. I worked with individual numbers only. That's why it took long. ये सारे numbers में मैं I was thinking अगर 401 तो I will have to check all prime numbers till 20. चलो let's check.
वो मैंने नहीं किया fortunately. And even जो है ना, when you look at that, for example, if I have to check multiples of 7, I know 7 into 60 is 420. So 401 cannot be a multiple of 7. 431 is another 10. So another 11. So if you take a benchmark number and compare with respect to that number, it becomes somewhat easier.
Right.
So what I have eliminated 4 numbers first. 3 का multiple
now, 4 हो जाते हैं. 3 multiples of 9 or 3 multiples of 3 and 1 multiple of 11. ये 4 हो जाते हैं, उसके बाद मेहनत लगती है. Because 7 चेक करना है, 11 की जरूरत नहीं, but 7 के बाद सीधा 13 आ गया था ना, हो गया था. It did not take that much time. But ठीक है.
So let's Shiku sir, what's your opinion on DILR? So if you look at, I'll show you the data. That is the initial data. Home center.
देख anyway, I think डिजाइन में तो हमने यही सोचा था कि ये कैट 25 से थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट तो होनी चाहिए.
24 से थोड़ा सा. हाँ.
Sorry, 24 से, right? And where it lands is anybody's guess. You can only launch it, but where will it land, we don't know. So, but the idea was at least I don't know, man. This is the thesis under which we are working. That the paper will not be as easy as probably last year's. What do you think, Ravi?
Yeah, I don't want the paper to be as easy as it was last year, because coming out of the paper, I thought last year मेरे को 100 आएगा percentile.
Now the problem was everyone mixing.
So when the paper is easy, when the paper is very easy, what happens is it is not easy to see. CAT has to be CAT is an elimination exam, right? To eliminate people, paper cannot be easy. Should not be.
And what you
So,
were also essentially trying to say is कि लगता है easy.
Though I don't mind it being easy, because I think from a student's perspective it's a good one. But I think general view is it might be marginally tougher than last time. May not be very tough, but marginally tougher than last time.
No, I think easy paper confuses everyone. That everyone thinks they have done great.
नहीं, but I think शशांक last year ऐसे तो नहीं थी कि सब लोगों को सब हो गया था. I somehow thought that last year's paper was also a good one in the sense that you had people attempting 5 sets, you had people attempting 4 sets, you had people attempting 3 sets, 2 sets, and people who attempted only 1 set. उससे पहले क्या था? People attempted only 3 sets. So
Maximum,
in that sense, I think it's a decent paper, but but while we were designing this,
fundamental problem, Shifku, then in the thinking of people, see, throughout all our mocks and analysis, we kind of tell people that you have to choose sets, leave sets. Okay, if you solve 3 sets out of 5, you will typically land in the good range, right? But if the paper comes, so if I am someone who is submitting to my guru, my mentor, and saying कि मेरे गुरु ने बोला, शिवकू सर ने बोला कि 3 सेट 5 में से कर दो तो आपका निकल गया. Then I go into the exam with that mindset कि 3 सेट करने हैं, and then I spend unnecessary time verifying my answers also. That is very hazardous to my mind. कि अगर paper easy है तो don't. So you should always play to the ground. You should always play to the pitch. What happened in the second innings of the final test is what was very different from the first innings of the final test.
correct.
But रवि जब भी कोई फिक्स आइडिया लेके जाएगा ना, जब भी कोई फिक्स आइडिया लेके जाएगा कि इतना स्कोर लाना है, वो गलत ही होगा, whether the paper is easy or difficult.
Absolutely.
वो mindset ही गलत है.
गुरु सही हो या गलत हो.
There should be some papers, and there would be some papers. I think the first Open CDC or the first mock that we launched this year, all 5 sets were doable. In that,
Correct.
Right? In this one, someone could solve only 3 sets and it would be a very good attempt. Right? So all different types of level of difficulty पे, all different types of pitch पे practice करना is mandatory, boss.
बिल्कुल.
Otherwise, you don't become a goat. Otherwise.
Yeah. बिल्कुल. I think that is one thing that we will try to do. Make sure that they get to see all the pitches.
And let's see QA में home और.
But इसमें एक चीज बताओ कि I mean what's your general feeling about how does DILR in the center get impacted vis-a-vis doing it at home?
Sir, 1.5 questions.
1.5 questions.
That is what data says. That is what data says. I think center में ना, see, I told you, Shivku, in the morning also, I have a very random intuitive hypothesis also. People who have taken this at the center are people who are not repeaters, is what I feel. Because people who are repeaters, people who are repeating CAT, taken the CAT even before, उन लोगों ने ऐसा पहले ही वो center वाला feel उनको है. So I think in the month of July, August, people who are repeating will typically have a better chance to score well. So home scores are much better. But this is purely a hypothesis. Maybe true, may not be true. I don't know. I don't.
On that note, let us ask them ना कि in the students यहाँ पे जो बैठे हैं, just tell us how many of you have repeated CAT and taken it at the test center, just for us to know quickly. Yeah, sorry. Back to you, Ravi.
Yeah.
And Ravi, I would agree with you on this that VA 1.5 questions were more, in LR 1.5 questions are more. I do agree with it. But in QA, the difference is 4 questions, 12 marks. So center और non-center का difference इतना ज़्यादा है, right? So that I don't think that that's the case.
I mean, there's another thing. You see, center में in center. Irrespective, see, Shashank sir, I'll be very honest. 8 बार 9 बार मैंने CAT लिखा है, जीपी सर ने 25 बार लिखा है, शिवकू सर ने 25-30 बार लिखा है. तो आज भी मुझे लगता है all of us feel shivers when we are taking the CAT actually in the center. क्योंकि
वो
अपने को
पेट में
बाहर
गुड़गुड़ होने लगती है.
we also there is an onus of analyzing the entire paper. पूरा पेपर याद करना है, ठीक है, सारे क्वेश्चन देखने हैं, करेक्ट जजमेंट कॉल देना है, करेक्ट परसेंटाइल प्रेडिक्टर निकालना है. अपने पे भी बहुत सारा ये है, राइट, प्रेशर है. So I think we also feel a lot when we go to that center. It's a completely different feel while you take that paper. There are external noises you cannot control, right? There's someone
वो पेट में गुड़गुड़ होने लगती है. जब सामने 50 लोग बैठे होते पेपर दे रहे होते ना, वो पेट में गुड़गुड़ होने लगती है. वो लोग कहते हैं कि अरे सर आपको तो सब आता है. अरे वो नहीं
look at the screen next to you. You look at the screen next to you. You see all greens. हट जाएगी. This is
तीनों सेक्शन में एक क्वेश्चन का फर्क तो पड़ता है.
एक खाली फनी पॉइंट हियर व्हाइल वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस. सो रवि और शशांक, तुम लोग जो बोल रहे हो ना कि एक एग्जैक्ट फील आती है, बट इस बार आई थिंक इन्विजिलेटर्स वर टू नाइस एट मोस्ट ऑफ द प्लेसेस. जो हमको फीडबैक मिला व्हिच इज नॉट सो एट कैट, तो हमको नेक्स्ट टाइम बोलना पड़ेगा भाई इन्विजिलेटर थोड़ा बातें करो, थोड़ा टाइम मतलब डिस्टर्ब करो बच्चों को. वो भी एक रियल सिमुलेशन हो जाएगा.
दूसरा पॉइंट भी है कि डीआई में रफ शीट जो इस बार मिला है, मेरे ख्याल से इट इज नॉट द साइज दैट वाज इंटेंडेड.
And that makes a big difference. Next mock, whenever we conduct it, we will correct that immediately.
Yeah.
ठीक है.
So shall we move to quant?
Yes. So this is QA. This is the overall data we are talking about. So if you see in this mock, QA overall, that includes both home and center. So 99.5 percentile is 43, 99 percentile is 38. For centers, it is 46. For home, it is 46. For center, it is 33. For center, it is 41. And for center, it is 30. So basically, this is the data. And this is overall data. कि सबको क्लब करने के बाद 99 percentile is at 38 and 99.5 is at 43.
Difference of 4 questions, which I think is huge. I would be okay with 1.5 question difference, but this is huge.
This is huge. Now this.
So
not to agree.
आप क्वेश्चन पेपर खोलो. I have recorded solutions to quant. Never have I felt so much of discomfort recording solutions in DILR or quant. Honest में बता रहा हूँ, क्योंकि मैं शुरू के क्वेश्चन देखता रह गया. हर क्वेश्चन, नो क्वेश्चन वाज सेइंग कि इसका आंसर क्या है. क्वेश्चन बस ये बोल रहा था इसका मैक्सिमम क्या होगा, इसका मिनिमम क्या होगा. यू लुक एट द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, व्हाट इज द मैक्सिमम वैल्यू ऑफ व्हाटएवर.
Okay. And I was talking to GP sir today about the first question, and when he said something, my morale got crushed. He said the question is talking about x square plus y square. So अब दोनों 10 से -10 से 10 के बीच में है, तो 200 से कम होगा. So this option is wrong. Now this is 10 square plus 7 square. This is 9 square plus 8 square. बस check कर ले. ठीक है. And when I was solving this question, I made a quadratic equation to solve it. And GP sir said, "यार कर ले." I was like,
देखो अगर quadratic equation बता दी होगी तो मैं सवाल छोड़ दूंगा.
Yeah. You look at the second question. What is the least possible number of members enrolled in B?
48, 49 तो देखते ही छोड़ने वाले सवाल है. Good questions to leave.
Right. फिर जिंदगी में ज्योमेट्री इतना जल्दी आ गया, right? So I felt the first 4 or 5 questions at least were not helpful, because even the question 51 is saying how many possible values that x can take.
51 is a very standard question, but इसमें time लगता है. This is a question which you have to go through the entire process, and वो गंदी सी question बनती है, फिर factors बनाते हैं. So it is a round 2 question or not to be attempted question.
Yeah.
By the way, question 50 में भी जुगाड़ है छोटा सा. Answer should be slightly more than 72.
Yeah.
Slightly more than 72.
Answer should be slightly more than
72. So 169 by 2, 80.5 आ जाता है उससे.
Yeah. You look at 52
But
and 53.
sincerely speaking, question 52 is the first easy question. If you don't look at jugaad as such, but question 52 is the first easy question.
Correct. 53 again is asking maximum possible amount. So ये ऐसा पेपर था कि questions were outright. See, maximum possible amount, minimum possible number in these questions you can find. It is not impossible to find. The problem is, if I am a student who is taking this at like an exam, even after marking that answer, number of solutions, if more questions are about number of solutions, maximum possible value, minimum possible value, तो मेरे mind में even after spending 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes on that, solving it, एक डाउट तो मेरे माइंड में रहेगा कि मैंने सही मार्क किया कि गलत मार्क, बिकॉज कुछ कोई केस तो मैंने छोड़ नहीं दिया. You know, you will not get that. This is a paper which I felt in quant would not build confidence as you go question after question. You will remain at the same level of confidence. But yes, afterwards, sort of 54 to 62, I felt there was a little bit of a breather that students could take. 55
Ravi, just going back to question 53, Shashank, if you can just call up. Question 53, again, you can do it faster without making equation. If you just look at the difference. Okay, if you look at the difference, वहाँ पे बहुत जल्दी हो जाता है, but equation बनाओगे तो बहुत time लगेगा.
Difference पे भी देखो तो सर 4 भी possible है, 6.5 भी possible है. एक में 1
नहीं,
का
maximum पूछा ना, maximum पूछा है.
नहीं.
Maximum पूछा तो 6.5 आता है.
Yeah.
But ठीक है, I've made the जुगाड़ video इसका, तो hopefully अब तक load हो गया होगा. Students can check it. But 54 वाला जो है, again, Ravi, the problem is if you go to question 54, students who are not comfortable with logs will probably leave it.
Correct.
That is another challenge यहाँ पे. Though it's a very straightforward, simple question, but you need to be a little comfortable with logs for this one.
This entire block of questions, 54, 55, 56, 57 were doable. Easily doable. I mean, anyone who has taken any bit of coaching for any of these topics, for these topics, should be able to solve all of these 4.
Both 55, 56, again, there's a jugaad involved. Please check the video. 57 मैंने round 2 में डाल दिया था, हो जाते हैं, but ये थोड़ा सा time लगता है. But it is a doable question.
58 I felt खून चूस ले रहा है मेरा, मतलब see, first you have to understand D equal to 0. That will give you 2 values of K. Using those 2 values of K, solve that quadratic and find P.
And you have to be clear, the bigger one is P.
Yeah.
अगर वो miss हो गया P greater than Q, फिर गए काम से.
Then what? उसके बाद वो x square plus px plus q minus q में उसको डालो, फिर p by 2 x is equal to minus p by 2 लेके तुम solve करो. So it's a 3-4 steps. It's not difficult, but it involves everything with that we know in quadratic equations.
See, to my mind, this is a paper in which you have done about 14-15 questions. An outstanding job in this paper.
Correct. Yeah.
60 मैंने छोड़ दिया था. वो क्वाड्रेटिक बनवाएगा y to power x plus 1 by y to power x equal to 10. वो फिर मेहनत करेंगे यार.
Correct.
61 was a good question for me.
The question is not even again asking what is x. It is asking number of non-negative solutions. I will always have a doubt in my mind even after solving it. Yes. That's the problem.
Which is why it did not make sense.
61.
I didn't see it.
It's like our regulation profit loss question. But
and you know, in my attempt, I have taken question number 60. I solved it.
60 आएगा. देखो, it is only possible for 2. root 3 plus root 2 का square ही, root 3 square plus root 2 square ही 5 है. दोनों में से वो तो definitely
actually I was getting a quadratic equation as y square minus 10y plus 1.
Correct.
So I factorized it as 9.9 and 0.1.
Okay.
Actually, अभी तुम ठीक कह रहे हो, ये होना चाहिए था question 60.
हाँ.
अभी मैं देखता हूँ तो it did not even strike me. मैं 0.1 देखा छोड़ दिया, उसके बाद 2 करता तो आ जाता यार.
सिर्फ 2 ही पॉसिबल हो सकता है और कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता. राइट साइड ही 10 है.
No, the answer is 1. 2 possible है. मतलब उसमें
the only possible value is 2.
The only one answer is 1. The only possible value of x is equal to 2 ना.
हाँ, एक ही तो वैल्यू आ रही है.
हाँ, बस ठीक है. वही है, x equal to 2 डालते हो तो हो जाता है. वो स्ट्राइक करना चाहिए. मैं 0-1 करके छोड़ दिया. 61 पे जुगाड़ है. प्लीज चेक माय वीडियो, उसमें डाला हुआ है. Ravi, 62-63 were your regulation questions.
62-63 were the easiest in the paper. पूरे पेपर में सबसे easiest questions were here 62, 63, 64 also. Someone who knows number theory.
So why did you know the formula of the rule?
क्या?
वो standard formula है ना, a to pi n plus b to pi n is divisible by a plus b. If you know that, yeah, where n is odd. If you know that, तो straightforward है. Otherwise, वो घूमते रह जाओगे.
Even otherwise, sir, 5 square leaves a remainder of -49 and 7 square leaves a remainder of 49. Cancel.
ये भी अच्छा है, एकदम सही कह रहे हो.
हाँ, वहीं पे खत्म है. 65 was all types of gain.
Left.
65 you have inequality. You have 4 or 5 different cases that you will have to work, and after that comes greatest integer function. So in the paper, this was a question I would never solve. So was 66.
Yeah. 65, 66, 67, all 3 left. 68 was a straightforward question. Calculator use करना तो कर सकते हो इसमें.
Yeah. So overall, to analyze, I would say it was a paper जिसमें 12-13 question अगर कोई कर ले, it's a very very good attempt. Irrespective of you are taking it at home or center, 12 to 13 is a very good attempt. 15 is a great attempt. I would not expect anyone to do 18-19 attempts. Though there is someone who has scored 66, God maybe, but I felt this paper अगर मैं as an attempt ले रहा होता तो 12-13 क्वेश्चन से ज्यादा बनने का मेरे 40 minutes में स्कोप नहीं होता, because the questions are tough. The questions, even after you know the concepts, are very lengthy to calculate.
Lengthy.
I have attempted, I think 12 attempt and one तुक्का मार दिया मैंने. So theta था. So I think I got with 14 attempts. So हाँ ठीक है. 67 में तुक्का मारा था. 66 I left it. 65 I have left it. 65 तो मैंने पहली लाइन खत्म होते होते ही छोड़ दी. मैं ये क्वेश्चन करूंगा तो तर जाऊंगा. So ये तो छोड़ दिया. ठीक है. So this is something that we have done. Okay. So should we go back to the previous slide? But I think overall this was a fun paper.
Now there is one thing I would like to
just one second. Ravi, just one second. Sazil, यार जुगाड़ वीडियो कहाँ बूस्टर एनालिसिस में होते हैं ना?
All of it will be uploaded because it might take some time to upload. The team is on it. Okay. So, दिख जाएगा.
Okay, they are being uploaded, guys.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to tell all students, for those whose marks scores flunked in QA from the previous few mocks to this mock, I expect some students to lose their marks in this paper. This was on a tougher note. This paper was on a tougher note. Normally, when you see this graph for QA in our previous analysis, you will see about at least 7-8 questions in the green. You will not see 7-8 questions in reds, which is there in this paper. So it is absolutely fine if you have lost 2 to 3 questions. Matlab, agar you were scoring 35 and you have come down to 26 or 27, that is absolutely fine in this kind of a paper, because there were not many questions were directly, up formula डालो आ जाएगा. You had to know your concepts, you had to be strong at them, and you had to go strong concept after concept after concept. 3 concept लगा के एक question बन रहा था. So this was that kind of a paper. So it's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. If the paper like this comes, I think I overheard Gejo in VARC also. He said, at the end of the day, it is comparatively how you are performing as compared comparatively how you are performing with respect to your counterparts who are taking the exam, right? It is not the absolute score that matters. It is your relative score that matters. So if your percentile range is almost the same, but even if you have lost marks in this paper, that is absolutely fine.
Okay. Can we take a couple of questions quickly? Oops. I think मैं और GP दोनों साथ में click कर रहे हैं. Jugaad videos will not be updated in YT. It will be updated in your students portal, which is MyZone, CL का MyZone. So all of you have taken the test. You have an access to your MyZone, in which the analysis, Jugaad videos, video solutions, everything will be available there.
live
Right,
attempts
so you can go to the tests and view analysis, in which you can find all these things one after the other.
Abhishek, this is what CAT is all about. Any entrance test is about time pressure, temperament, resilience, pressure handling, everything. Okay. So that is the key always, and which is why it is always good to be taking a few tests in actual test environment so that you get used to it.
That is why
Right.
even CDC flexes, you should take it in, even in you are at home, take it in the same time slots as CDC Pro. You know, time का भी बहुत matter होता है boss. 2:30 to 4:30.
Ravi,
12:30 to 2:30 is the worst slot. नींद भी आती है, भूख भी लगती है.
and Ravi,
Okay.
you know what I have faced when I was writing the mock in the center? The main pressure is built by the people around you. When you say 30 people are coming here to write the mock, same as you, and some people are smiling, तो 3-4 लोग जब स्माइल कर देते हैं और पेपर के बीच में बोलते हैं अरे यार ये तो बहुत आसान है, ठीक है, आधे लोगों का मोरल वही डाउन हो जाता है.
That is true. That is true. इसीलिए always act confident. तुम्हारी कितनी भी फटी हुई है ना, act confident. बाकी because बाकी लोगों का confidence already गिर जाएगा उससे. So on a lighter note, yeah.
मैं तो कहता हूँ बीच में बोलो अरे यार कितना आसान है, सब तो हो गया.
मजा आ गया, ऐसे मजा आता है.
Actual exam. Don't do anything you can't do in the actual exam.
Okay, Avinash पूछ रहा है, can a test series student book center for each and every mock? Avinash, as of now, this was the first attempt of this sort ever, not just in CL. So इतने cities में ये साथ करना, तो ये पहला attempt था. Yes, we will be making it available for couple of more mocks, if not all. So let me get back to you because we are planning this. This is under.
And one thing I think it not also needs to be said that this is a paper where we have taken part of the cost. So those of you who have paid, you have paid only a fraction of the amount, and the CL students have got it for free, and we have picked up the cost. Subsequent papers, we may need to do some more jugglery because we were not sure if it is worth it or not. If since the students are finding it useful, we will see how to extend this to other papers also.
Right. I have a couple of more questions I had noted down. Just give me a second. एक ये है. Asta says after mock deep analysis is available, but the full question paper is not there where to access. The full question paper is available in your analysis section. You can first of all go to the booster analysis section. यहाँ पे आप वापस पूरा पेपर तो देख ही सकते हो, attempt भी कर सकते हो. You can actually attempt the question paper again without the time thing. And उसके नीचे there is another question कि तुम्हें ये question did you know it and were you able to answer it right or not, which will bookmark the questions in the right bucket automatically. मान लो अगर तुम्हारा एक सही क्वेश्चन तुम्हें आता था टॉपिक और तुमने सही किया है, it was a good shot. But if नहीं आता था और तुमने छोड़ा है तो it's a well left. तो उस तरह की buckets हैं, good shot, risky shot, well left. So when you mark that question there, it goes into that particular folder to be accessed later as a bookmark question, right? So Asta, this is all available in the analysis section itself. Okay, इसके बाद एक और क्वेश्चन था, आई थिंक सनत का था. I'll just take it up. ये बहुत अच्छा है, every one of us can talk about it. Sir, fatigue hit किया by the especially center पे, and Abhishek also +1 कर रहा है इस पॉइंट को, ठीक है. सो ये क्या करें इसका, बिकॉज सेंटर पे ये हो रहा है, वैसे भी होता है बट सेंटर पे ज्यादा होता है. रवि, शशांक.
सर मैं तो कहता हूँ कि whenever you practice, right, sit for at least 2 hours, stop using hard copies, स्क्रीन पे बैठो, स्क्रीन पे करो 2-3 घंटे. मतलब क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करना और मूवी देखना दो एंटायरली अलग अलग चीजें. सबको लगता है कि मैं 2 घंटे कंप्यूटर पे बैठ लेता हूँ, ठीक है. जब आप पेपर दे रहे होते हैं ना, तो पेपर देते टाइम ना आप बीच में पानी पीने जाते हैं, ना बीच में आप वॉशरूम जाते हैं, आप कुछ नहीं करते, 2 घंटे आराम से बैठे रहते हैं, ठीक है. सो जब आप प्रैक्टिस करें तो इस चीज की प्रैक्टिस करें, ठीक है. सो स्टैमिना उससे धीरे धीरे बिल्ड होता है. एंड इट्स नॉट लाइक हाँ
शशांक, you very rightly said, just 2 points to add कि टेबल कुर्सी पे बैठो like you do, right, not just बेड पे लेट के किया, right, बीच में रोक दिया, बाद में वापस आए. You don't do all those things. put your phone aside for 2 hours on silent and in some other room. ये सब बहुत जरूरी है. So Shashank, you are right. Please take it forward.
Ravi, you were saying something.
Yeah, so वही है कि it is all about your body accepting that kind of workout schedule. ठीक है, वो 2 घंटा your brain is very active, has to be very active. So you have got to train your brain and body to work like that. 8:30 to 10:30 in the morning, you should be active. 12:30 to 2:30 in the morning, in the afternoon, you should be active. 4:30 to 6:30 in the morning, in the evening, you should be active in terms of doing something which is brain related. Because CAT में कोई 2 घंटे में आपका पूरा logic test होने वाला है. Right? So,
and Ravi, you know, I never tell people that go for 12:30 to 2:30 or 4:30 to 6:30. मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ 8:30 to 10:30 वाले slot पे करो. Because the problem is, जब कैट का एडमिट कार्ड आता है ना, उस एडमिट कार्ड आने के पहले आपको कभी नहीं पता होता आपका स्लॉट कौन सा होगा. यू डोंट हैव राइट टू. तो 12:30 से 2:30 वाले में तो आदमी फिर भी मैनेज कर लेता है. 8:30 सवेरे उठना और उस टाइम प्रैक्टिस करना, 2 घंटे बैठना, दैट बिकम्स अ पेन. एंड once you get a slot कि मतलब एडमिट कार्ड आ गया, यू नो व्हाट्स योर स्लॉट, उसके बाद अपन में टाइम पे प्रैक्टिस करना शुरू करो कि 2 घंटे, मतलब अगर आपका स्लॉट 4:30 to 6:30 का है तो उसी टाइम पे पढ़ना है अपन को.
मेरे से तो नफरत वाला पिछले 4 साल से 8:30 to 10:30 दे रहा है.
और शशांक, आपने बोला ना 8:30 वाला सबसे डिफिकल्ट स्लॉट है, मेरे लिए वो 12:30 वाला है, बिकॉज मेरे से भूख नहीं सहन होती. तो आई गेट डिस्ट्रैक्टेड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट. सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू ट्राई आउट ऑल द स्लॉट्स, बाय द वे.
No, once you get your admit card, don't अगर आपका 12:30 से 2:30 का है तो आप 8:30 बजे मत करो, कोई सेंस नहीं है उसका. फिर तो 12:30 से 2:30 ही पढ़ना है आपको कंप्यूटर स्क्रीन के सामने 2 घंटे. So 8:30 इसलिए क्योंकि majority people have problem in waking up early.
Right. Okay, so GP आपने ऑलरेडी कवर किया है, बट ये मैं सवाल ढूंढ रहा था. Sorry, someone is saying something. Okay. So GP ये सवाल मैं ढूंढ रहा था, मिल गया मुझे. Sir, please don't keep a price for these tests. But as GP rightly said कि यहाँ पे बहुत बड़ा cost है, right? So this can't be a free thing always or ever, right? The cost is going to be minuscule. It might not be the same because इस बार हम लोगों ने बहुत सारा cost उठाया था, right? Expect something, right? Depending on which course you enrolled at with CL. राइट. सो उस पे डिपेंड करेगा कि आपको क्या कॉस्ट लगेगा, बट कॉस्ट ज्यादा हैवी नहीं होगा. डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट.
कैट उतने लार्ज होलसेल पे 2000 प्लस जीएसटी ले रहा है इसके लिए.
और एनमेट तो एडमिशन तक 10,000 ले लेता है.
हाँ,
हम एडमिशन नहीं देते ना, लेकिन
Ravi sir, what is the ideal score for LRDI in this mock? As I said, anything above 30 is great in this paper. 30 to 33, 36 is a very good range in this paper. 10 to 12.
30, we have done a good job here. See, look at this with 3 sets of data. 3 sets, let's say 4, 4, 5. That makes it how much? 8 and 5, 13. 1 or you may leave or get it wrong, so you'll be somewhere in mid 30s. So if you're in 30s, it's a terrific thing which you have done.
I have also recorded DILR live attempt of this 40-minute attempt. You can go through that. Okay. I may have marked some answers wrong also. It is an attempt. It is not a solution video. Bear with that.
एक और क्वेश्चन ले लूं मैं just before. So this is something that we should take up. Hi sir, last year ये एक दो चीजें ली थी. IIM रायपुर and IIM गाजियाबाद. I think I should have taken the admission last year because इस बार मोटिवेशन मर रहा है. Okay, यार मैं इसमें शुरू करूंगा एक सवाल. एक चीज मैं मानता हूं और आप लोग को भी लाइफ टाइम के लिए, not just for CAT but for life, you know, you take time in taking the decision, but once you've taken a decision ना, then don't rethink, don't go back to it कि ये सही किया गलत किया. Make the decision right. तो उस पे काम कर. You can't go back and join the IIM Raipur or IIM Ghaziabad anymore, right? You can't do that. You can't change that. So forget it. वो तूने ले लिया, इसको सही करना. So motivation गिर रहा है, स्कोर नहीं आ रहा है, आएगा. You are still almost 4 months away, a little less than 4 months away, right? There is a huge scope of increasing the score. if you are going to get demotivated and getting affected by it, तो थोड़ा difficult हो जाएगा तुम्हारे लिए. Don't do that. We have to bounce back. And on this note, other mentors, please chip in on this.
Very simple. Arjun was standing in the battlefield, asked Krishna that the people who are against me are my relatives. Why are we having this war? I should leave. Krishna said, you should have thought that before. Now you are in the battlefield, you are a warrior, fight. Simple. एक बार वहां चले गए. What is gone is gone. You just have to figure out what you want to do next. Kung Fu Panda 2 is the best movie ever. Okay, watch it. It's all about what you want to be from here.
Okay, one quick update. जो लोग पूछ रहे थे ना अभी कि वीडियो सोल्यूशन जुगाड़ वीडियोस ये सब अपलोड हो चुका है. It is live. Video solutions are live. जुगाड़ videos are live. The live attempt will go live in some time.
Sahil, you can't take the test at the CP center. Okay, so not in the same way as this test was conducted, but we'll see what are the possibilities we have to work out, because this was a pilot. We said let's do the pilot at our cost, and then we'll look at other things. But given the feedback that you people are giving, we'll try to see what is the best that we can do.
In fact, to add to that, GP, if he wants अपना लैपटॉप ले जाके तो तू सीपी सेंटर पे दे ही सकता है.
That is always possible. Just carry your laptop and you will get that space. You will get the space to take the test. It will not be an actual test environment. ये कह सकते हो because disturbance होगी तो actual test environment हो ही गया.
वो जुगाड़ उसका हम लोग इंतजाम कर देंगे. डिस्टरबेंस का वो हो जाएगा.
नहीं वहाँ पे सीपी सेंटर पे तो डाउट रूम पे ही होगा. डाउट रूम में बच्चे अपना पढ़ रहे होंगे और डाउट डिस्कस कर रहे होंगे. भाई तुम अपना वो पेपर देना, कोई इशू नहीं है.
ठीक है वो
यार ये हलवा आ जाता है यार. जुगाड़ वीडियोस are in your booster analysis.
The live attempts will also go into your booster analysis only. ठीक है.
ठीक है. चलो, I think we can close now.
Absolutely. Good note. Thank
Okay,
you so
guys.
much.
Good night. All the best. We'll meet again next week for the next discussion on the next mock.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.